Well, I sure could use a new desk calendar up here for 2025.
How many do you want?
Okay, let's go ahead and call the meeting to order. It is Thursday, December 12th, 2024. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. And I think we will forgo, or do you have any minutes to report?
I do not.
I think we're gonna forgo all of that, and we will go straight down to new business, renewal of property, casualty, and liability insurance for the 2025 year.
Well, I'll go ahead and start. As you know, Jeff Knott, and I'm sorry, I keep saying so, and Rick is here, they're our agent of record. And so they go out to the market and try to get the best deal for the county. As far as our property, our equipment, liability insurance, and our cyber insurance, it's to put them all together. So as you can read the letter from them, they are suggesting we stay with Travelers for the year 2025 with the premiums that were attached. They've done due diligence this year, trying other options. It's definitely going up for the county for the year of 25, around a total of 27 to 30% increase. A lot of it is due to claims, unfortunately for us, but even comparing that to other carriers and even dividing up the book of business differently, and that they've come up with a great solution if it would have worked, but unfortunately the premium wasn't there compared to the coverage that we would have. So I can turn it over to Jeff if he wants to talk about it.
Yes, as Debbie was saying, unfortunately this year we're currently running about a 240% loss ratio. And so we still have 2 pending claims in litigation. And so this year was a hard year, and Travelers did have to apply a pretty sizable increase. But as you can see on our spreadsheet, they are still far more competitive on almost all the lines of coverage compared to MoPro.
And you can tell on the first sheet how many different markets they looked at and different carriers they made application to, or
Yes.
I guess that's the appropriate word.
Seeking different lines of coverage from these different carriers. And then as well as we sought out different quotes for cyber as well. We did get 2 competitive quotes, but Cabell has been very proven and had great claim experience with them firsthand. So I'd recommend staying with them as well.
Yeah, we were very satisfied with Campbell.
Yeah.
I was.
Yeah, it's amazing how fast they responded, and no questions asked, we're able to make that payment and get the data back. So.
Yes.
And there was one change to the deductibles from this year to next year.
Yeah,
And that is Travelers, they're 5,000 on collision on the vehicle, but 25,000.
so Travelers is making us increase the auto liability deductible from 5,000 to 25,000. So that's if the county is at fault and there's a bodily injury, or the county creates property damage to a third party, the deductible will be 25,000.
John, stop hitting deer.
Competition didn't help.
Yeah.
Come up with a program and she wouldn't, so.
So if you guys are inclined, I would like to go with the recommendation and that is to stay with Travelers for the year 2025, unless you have any other specific questions.
I just might mention that Debbie and I met with the carriers, or the knot, a week ago.
Friday, I think it was Thursday or Friday.
That's Friday.
Yeah.
And at that time, there was a couple things outstanding. One of them was a deductible buy-down amount for premium and the cyber liability, but they worked on both of those numbers, because last week we had a bit taller number than 1,266,000. It was
Yes.
1,337,000, I think.
Yes.
What exactly is the buy down?
The wind hail buy down, that's, so Travelers requires a 2% wind hail deductible, and the buy down brings it down from a 2% deductible down to a 1% deductible.
Okay.
So, yeah, Travelers, on their main policy, it's a 2% deductible or 250,000 minimum occurrence.
And we started that last year, I think.
We talked last week about the insurance on the old jail was that moved down, the care
Yes.
coverage there?
So it's currently insured for 3.3 million, 3.292. And I figured out that rate, the premium for the old jail is around 10,500.
Oh, okay.
So we could reduce that if you wanted, or take off the property, depending on how the commission wants to handle it.
And I could give you that schedule of what all of our buildings are valued at, not only the building itself, the contents and the computerization. We try to, Travelers have always been very good. We try to come up with a rate, but every year they increase it, because they know that to replace those things have gone up substantially.
Right,
So
yes.
they have different values than obviously where we started. Those values, years ago, I would ask the assessor's office to give me, to make sure those values are right. And again, I haven't really done that in the last few years, but I'm counting on Travelers with their value.
Right.
They do a much better job at that than Mopern did, if that makes sense.
And that's
Okay
referred
to
to
say?
as an inflation guard. So it tries to capture the increased rates due to materials, labor, to repair or replace the buildings or property.
And me and Harry talked about that, maybe getting our buildings evaluated at some point. Obviously, I don't think the county wants to insure all of our buildings to the total replacement cost of all of them. It would take us out of the market of.
The ironic thing about the old jail is, if a miracle came along, an F4 or F5 sat on top of it and blew it away, we wouldn't replace it. We wouldn't replace the old jail.
Jail, right.
We'd have to come up with something.
We
for
would
that.
save a couple $100,000 on demolition, right? Because nature did it for us, and then we would find a way to take care of the
Yeah.
sheriff's sally port.
Right.
And find a new way into the courthouse. But
Might-
that's
the
not
whole
gonna
side
happen.
might be gone.
Yeah. And the current blanket for the building property value is at $99,938,000 for all the properties.
Say it again, Joe.
$99,938,404.
And keep in mind that really did, the values of the properties increased by a total of over 13%. I mean, because,
Well,
from
we-
last year to this year, because we added a
We
building.
had a development,
Yeah.
that's probably in there,
That's-
5+.
Correct, yes, yeah. What wasn't included in last year's numbers was the 4.8 million for the new EMS building, which we added to.
Yeah, all right. All right.
Any other questions about?
I don't really think that's that expensive for that $3 million plus value.
Yeah.
I-
Fortunately, they've looked at the market, and we are where we are.
We did talk a little bit about, last week, defensive driving or a few other things that might help us on
Yes.
at least on experience.
And Travelers has a wonderful program that they're willing to come in and meet with specific departments and help facilitate that training, as well as provide written policies and guides that could help as well.
So what would that save? Just
Well,
It would help bring down the loss ratio, so, I mean,
Right, it may not save any premium. It will
Initially.
make us a safer risk, we hope.
well, in our experience hopefully would,
Yes.
Yes.
loss experience would hopefully dip a bit.
right.
And yes, we have one department willing to invest into, what was that? Something in the
Simulator.
car, simulators, and then something in the cars. But it's kind of late in the year.
Oh,
to get-
GPS monitoring? type-
Yes, yeah, yeah. So in the future, we're gonna definitely look at that to, if that would help premium dollars
Yeah, I will
offset the cost of what that would be.
check on
Yeah.
just,
I had talked to Jeff a little bit, and I wanted to bring it up with the commissioners, that particularly now with our auto liability deductible being higher, we need to encourage Jill, her office, to get to be more involved if and when we have that auto liability claim. And I'm proposing that she would now go ahead and start working with the Travelers adjusting people with some tips, ideas on how to move forward, maybe a little more aggressively, because it would be our deductible dollars that she'll be
Protected.
fighting for and protecting, yes. So.
She
it-
was involved in some of those.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna have to encourage her even more aggressiveness, maybe.
Okay,
There could be cases where, for example, the claim could be a $10,000 claim. We might be able to go in and settle that thing for $5,000 immediately,
yeah.
rather than let it linger or maybe fighting it as we may have previously.
Okay, and that's a good idea. She has worked with the Travelers attorneys before and
Yes.
very impressed. I'll have to, I mean, she's mentioned that to me several times.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Good.
So the wind and hail goes from, the deductible goes from 100,000 to 500,000. And then the buy down for that is 79.
Mhm.
So if we did have a claim, then our deductible would be back to 100,000 or 25,000?
It's bought down from 2% to 1%, with 100,000 being the minimum. So it'd be 100,000 or whatever 1% of that building value is. Where Travelers is at a 2% wind hail with a minimum of 250,000.
Okay. I was just looking at Debbie's email and it had some different numbers in there. I'm looking at the wrong thing.
Yeah. I may not explain it exactly. That's better.
Okay.
And I can write that out and send it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And on this sheet that I did the comparisons from this year to next year, over on the other side is the deductibles and how they've changed since over the years. So I'm just gonna we're just gonna keep that going so you can see that. But unfortunately, to keep costs down here at home, anything, if you change your deductibles, it does help.
So in that 2024 column,
Yep.
this was last year's, that's where that 2% is at. But then
Yes.
behind that, it says going from 100,000 to 500,000, so is that not
They did that from 23 to 24.
Okay, so that
I
didn't
haven't
apply
really
to
put-
the 25. 25 means with the buy down, we go to the 1%.
Yeah.
So,
I didn't fill in all of that, I was just showing you what changed today, but I will fill that in for when we do have a claim, so I know where we're at.
You know, much like the health insurance, we're taking, sometimes, we increase our risk from that maximum, our loss from, we moved it from 75 to 85 per belly button, I guess is what they call it. And we probably came out on it. We're gonna probably come out on that this year.
Seems like,
A little
yes.
bit ahead. Premium went down,
Right,
exposure went up, but on net, unless we have something between now and the end of the year or some trailing claims we don't know about,
Right.
we're gonna, that was the right move. Now we're doing it, now we're moving over to casualty,
Yeah.
property and casualty, and we're taking more risk, but we're bringing the premium down. At the end of the year, after all the dust settles, we'll find out if we made a decent
Right.
decision or not.
right. And you can kind of control that self-insurance with that cap. Travelers is kind of controlling it for us with setting the deductibles. So, I mean, we could go to the fact of not having anything for autos other than liability. And we take that whole risk. But for the dollar amount of premium difference, I don't know if you'd want to do that. You know, obviously, cars are getting more expensive and they're getting totaled easier because it costs so much to repair them. So I don't think premium dollars were there yet, but in the future, if these deductibles keep going up, you may want to look in self-insuring yourself on part of this, if we want to take risks.
But on the collision
Right,
side.
yeah, yeah.
I'm good with going with your recommendation. I was just trying to dig into some of it. It
Sure.
doesn't make as
Yeah,
much sense,
sure.
but I'm glad you all do that and not us. And then you all live here too, so this is your tax money that's helping pay for it, so.
Right.
And they've always
Trust you all
approached
with
it
it.
that way, so
Well,
that makes me feel good.
These times are so unique. I was talking to somebody who has a public entity and they got a fire. They can't get insurance. They can't get insurance. And I'm like, this is here in Jefferson City. I'm like, whoa.
Wow.
But, I mean,
So what do you need today, Debbie? Do you need to approve?
Yeah, motion to approve the recommendation to stay with Travelers moving forward with all the coverages, and then we'll go ahead and do the cyber separately.
Yes.
So 2 different motions, if you don't mind. Barry, you want to do the cowbell one, and then?
I'll do that one first to get it out of the way. I'm gonna make a motion that we continue our coverage through cowbell, and a premium for 25 is $32,666.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
And maybe all the other coverages to stay.
I'll make a motion
Yes.
to adopt the coverages and premiums as presented by our insurance experts. We call them not, but that's not the accurate number anymore, is it? It's,
I still answer to it.
It's funny when you call and they answer where.
I guess,
And I'm like, who, what?
I'll go back to my motion, so I'll make a motion to adopt the premium summary of traveler's renewal through not AKA Assured Partners of Missouri. And the total price is shown on the premium summary renewal schedule.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Then Debbie, do you want to do a third for the wind hail?
Yeah, because that is with a different carrier, I'm
Yes.
sorry. And is that the risk?
Risk placement services.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to adopt the coverage with
Risk,
Placement services.
risk placement services for the
Wind hail buyback.
wind hail buyback.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
risk placement services. How do I- okay.
That covers all 3 bases,
Yes.
all right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. we'll do this again a year from now, I guess, and hopefully we'll have good experience to brag about.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we gotta work on that
Right, Sheriff?
240% raise.
Hey,
Right, Sheriff?
I didn't hear what you said.
Just say,
Hey, just like you tell us, just say yes.
Say, I would probably on them, but you scare me a little bit. Because I've done that to you before.
Yes.
Yeah, I
We're
would
gonna
do
have,
that too.
we're gonna have we're gonna have better experience numbers, loss experience
Oh,
numbers next
absolutely.
year. Right?
We've done a
Sheriff?
lot more training, so.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.
yes,
I would like to, first of all, thank you, commissioners, and Debbie, everyone for your hard work. You'll soon be hearing about Assured Partners of Missouri being bought by A.J. Gallagher Company. If it goes through, and I think it will, probably mid-next year, that will make them, I think, the third largest broker in the nation. So that's very positive for all of us, but wanted to kind of give you a heads up if you do see something on that.
Yeah. But you'll see the same faces next year. So,
All righty.
Yeah, we don't expect any changes locally, but we'll have access to even more carriers.
we don't like change.
Yeah.
We know,
We know.
unless it's good.
Yeah,
We do need 3 desk calendars.
you got it.
On the way.
You got it.
I use one.
Yeah.
Okay, do we have any other issues to come before us today?
Issues?
don't open that door.
No.
I would entertain a motion.
one thing on the agenda.
Oh, man.
Any other,
Budget discussion is on there as needed, but I don't think we need
Yeah.
any, right? We're done.
I'll give you the totals.
I make a motion, we stand in recess until 4:30.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Hey, Joe.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, guys.